upon a time, when there was magic everywhere, there lived a little old man and his wife, who was almost as little and almost as old as he was, in a tiny cottage. The fact that their cottage was so tiny didn't bother them, for they never had any children, even though they wanted them very much. One morning, when the little old lady was baking gingerbread, she suddenly had an idea.
If we can't have a real little boy, why not make a gingerbread one?
And she set to work and began rolling out the dough. And when she finished, she had a perfect little gingerbread man with raisin eyes and currant buttons on his jacket.
Now, all I have to do is pop him into the oven and bake him, and we'll have a little boy.
So she put the gingerbread boy into the oven and paced the floor impatiently until she was sure he'd bake just the right length of time. Then she opened the oven door. But before she could even stick a straw into the gingerbread boy to see if he'd baked enough, he jumped out of the oven, ran out the kitchen door, and was off down the lane.
Come back, little boy! Come back!
Run if you want, as fast as you can, but no one can catch the gingerbread man!
And he was gone. As he ran through the fields, the little old man tried to catch him too, but the gingerbread boy merely laughed and called back,
Run if you want, as fast as you can, but no one can catch the gingerbread man! You'll never catch me, no more than your wife! Never, not if you run for your life!
And the gingerbread boy was right. The old man couldn't keep up with him, and the gingerbread boy ran off into the forest as free as the birds in the trees. The gingerbread boy hadn't gone very far before he met a large rabbit with magnificent whiskers who was nibbling some wild celery.
How do you do?
How do you do, Rabbit?
Very well. Care for some wild celery?
No, thank you.
Oh, go ahead, boy. Have some. It's my second favorite food in all the world.
Oh? Oh, what's your first favorite?
Gingerbread.
And with his nose twitching hungrily, the rabbit was after the gingerbread boy like a shot.
Stop. Stop, gingerbread boy. Stop.
But the gingerbread boy only laughed and called back,
Run if you want, as fast as you can, but no one can catch the gingerbread man! I outran the husband, I outran the wife, I can outrun a bunny to save my own life!
And the gingerbread boy proved it by running so fast and so far into the forest that the rabbit gave up in despair. For he knew that no matter how hard he ran, he would have to settle for a lunch of wild celery.
Oh my, well, I didn't really want any gingerbread anyhow.
But by now the gingerbread boy had run into the deepest and darkest part of the woods, and he really hadn't the slightest idea where he was. There was nothing to do but go on, since for all he knew, the husband, the wife, and the rabbit were still pursuing him. He could hear bears and wolves and something that sounded very much like a tiger. But luckily, they couldn't hear him. Then, just as the gingerbread boy reached the end of the woods...
How do you do?
How do you do, Fox?
Far better than you will, gingerbread boy.
The gingerbread boy began to run as fast as the wind, calling back,
Run if you want, as fast as you can, but no one can catch the gingerbread man! I outran the husband, I outran the wife, I can outrun a bunny to save my own life!
But then the gingerbread boy stopped, for the fox wasn't running after him at all.
Why aren't you chasing me, Fox? Aren't you hungry?
Everyone knows that foxes don't eat gingerbread. I was just going to offer to help you get across the river that's just up ahead. If you ride across on my tail, your pursuers will never catch you.
The gingerbread boy thought for a moment and decided that since the fox's tail was so far from his mouth, he'd be perfectly safe. So he climbed onto the fox's tail, and the fox waded into the river.
The water's getting deeper, gingerbread boy. Climb up on my back or you'll get wet and fall all to pieces.
The gingerbread boy climbed up on the fox's back, and they went deeper and deeper into the river.
The water is getting still deeper, gingerbread boy. If you don't climb up on my head, you'll get wet and fall all to pieces.
You're very wise, Fox.
But the fox was wiser than the gingerbread boy knew. For as soon as the gingerbread boy had climbed up, the fox threw him up in the air with a toss of his head, opened his mouth, and as the gingerbread boy came down, and that was the end of the gingerbread boy. The fox, however, had a long and happy life.